Hello everyone, I'm Samuel Toussaint. This is my video presentation for my final research paper. This video is for Corrections 320. And basically I wrote my research paper on how systemic racism inside of the correctional facilities affects African American recidivism rates. We all know that African Americans are disproportionately arrested, jailed, imprisoned, any term you use. African Americans, they are the ones who suffer the most. One of the things I realized when I was doing my research was that out of a country of over 330 million people, 70% of the imprisoned or incarcerated population is African Americans. And when you break the numbers down, it's African American only represent a small fraction of the entire country's population. I think about 14%. So to have a population count of 14%, but also have almost 70% of the incarcerated people be African Americans, those numbers can be mind-boggling. And those are some of the things that I was seeing and I was learning, and it kind of pissed me off a little bit. There was one article that I read from the New York Times that discussed how the upstate prisons in New York and the prisons that were closer to the city had a major discrepancy or disparity when it came to prison discipline. For example, you are more likely to, if you're African American or any other minority, you are more likely to end up in the box for any minor infraction, just because of your race. While if you were a prisoner inside of a state correctional facility such as Sing Sing, which is right there an hour outside of the city, you didn't have to deal with the same type of racial prejudices. The prisons upstate in the more rural parts of the country are pretty much majority white staff. Correctional officers, civilian staff is pretty much all white, while the inmates, on the other hand, are majority African American. On the other hand, when my research showed that the Sing Sing Correctional Facility, it had a majority African American population, and therefore there was no major discrepancies when it came to the discipline records. Even the case of Kalief Browder, he was a former incarcerated person inside of Rikers. He was 17 years old at the time when he was arrested and detained for allegedly stealing a backpack, and he spent 3 years inside of Rikers Island with never seeing a judge. So that's one of the most egregious crimes, or to affect African Americans, and that's just one of the cases that we knew. I'm pretty sure there are plenty of other cases that can highlight similar or even more egregious actions that have happened to people. They always say that the system failed that person. No, the system is actually rigged to fail. And one of my research papers, I cited one of my works I found. It described according to the Justice Department Office of Justice Programs, from 1967 to 1977, there was a major shift in the prison population. It went from majority white to majority African American in the span of 10 years. And the author of the research study noticed that there was a significant change inside of how the prison system worked. Instead of focusing on rehabilitation of inmates, it suddenly changed. It seemed to the author, he surmised that it was more of an attempt to destroy the black family, destroy the African American family structure by creating a system of a vicious cycle of recidivism, where you get arrested, you go to jail, you become institutionalized in jail, and you're unable to function in society. And then when you go back into the society, you're still unable to function, and then you go right back in jail after you commit another crime. And that's what my research paper basically talks about. What causes people to leave jail, go back to freedom, and then to come right back to jail and then start all over again.